If there's one advantage to Oklahoma's long growing season, is we can actually get 3 different crops. So everybody, or a lot of people, are familiar with the spring cool season crops that we can plant, and then of course our summer varieties. But the advantage of having a long growing season and going into some nice fall temperatures is we can plant those cool season crops that we planted in the spring again in the late summer. So now is an excellent time to consider planting some cool season crops that you like, that you enjoy. Get them in the ground, and then as we go into the cooler temperatures of the fall, we still have our warm days, but our nights tend to cool off a little bit more. It can be humid, and this results in some good quality vegetables. Now you can start plants directly in the ground by seed, though some of them are probably better started indoors and to develop little transplants and then move them outdoors as plants later on. Of course, the challenges that we face this time of year is that it's hot. And so because of the hot sun, the soil temperatures can be quite warm and they dry out a lot quicker. So the cool season crops, they like cooler soil temperatures and good moisture. So when we plant, we need to make sure that we do some things to help ensure that the soil stays cooler and moist and gives those plants an opportunity to get off and get growing. Another problem that we can have, of course, is that the pest problems are already there. So you need to be particularly careful, scout frequently, and watch for insects and other pests, and be prepared to treat as needed. One method to making sure that the plants stay, or especially the seeds, stay a little cooler as you're sowing them into the soil is to actually dig a deeper trench than you normally would. So we're gonna create a couple of trenches here. We're gonna go a little deeper than we would normally. And then we're gonna place the seed down in the bottom of this trench, but we're not gonna cover them up completely. So I'm gonna make a couple of different rows here because we're gonna plant some radishes. I love radishes, as well as some spinach. Those are 2 great cool season crops. They quickly mature. So usually with radishes, you can have some good harvest within just a few weeks. With things like lettuce and spinach, you can also have start harvesting probably within about a month. Another thing to remember is that you can stagger your plantings. So if you have the space, you can plant a few now, 2 or 3 weeks later, plant some more, and then you'll have a succession of crops that you can continue to harvest into the winter months. So here we have some radish. This is an Easter egg blend, so some nice colorful varieties. And we're just going to kind of sprinkle them down in the trench here. They like to, we'll have to thin them out later on as they start to sprout, but we're just gonna, they like to be about 1/2 inch deep. And again, instead of completely covering them with soil, we're just gonna put some compost or mulch over the top of them. This is some cottonseed hulls that we have for mulch here in the garden. And we're gonna just cover that up really good. And that will help moderate the soil temperatures and moderate the soil moisture as well. Of course, you'll want to water them in. I loosened up the soil before we started, so that's important. The soil was already nice and moist. We had a rainfall recently, plus we do have some irrigation that will help keep it moist. But the key to getting your seeds to sprout is to keep them evenly or consistently moist until they begin to germinate and begin to grow. The next one I want to plant is some kohlrabi. I really love kohlrabi. It's a really fun vegetable and maybe not so popular, but I love the flavor and I love it fresh out of the garden. It has a swollen stem which forms right at the base of the plant. Sometimes they refer to that as a bulb, but it's actually the swollen stem. And then it can be nice and crisp, and it's really good chopped up or sliced up and eaten fresh or cooked. This particular one here is called early white Vienna. Has a nice bright white skin and a nice crisp white flesh as well. And then I have another one here called Azure Star, and it actually has a purple skin with a white flesh. So we're going to plant a couple of these here. These we're going to go ahead and just kind of lightly cover with the soil. Again, probably about a half an inch or so. And what we're going to do here, instead of covering them with a mulch, we still could put some mulch down to help moderate the soil temperature. But another great way to protect them until they really get going is to provide some kind of a shade structure. Okay, we have several different types of materials, and I'm sure you could find things just around your house that you could use. But burlap works really well. We can create some kind of a frame structure out of sticks and stakes and whatnot, and drape this over the top so that it provides some shade. I've seen this done several times. We have some of the Rime fabric that's really nice and light, which also allows air in. Could even kind of keep the pests out while the seeds are developing, the plants are developing, but also provides a little bit of shade. Allows enough light in, but provides a little bit of shade as well. And then we can use some other materials. I found some wire mesh here. That we could maybe use that as our framing structure to help, place the material over the top of it, provide some structure. You can use boards. Found some pegboard in our shed that actually would work really well. Again, we could create kind of a framing, maybe just like a little teepee type of structure over our plants until, again, the plants really germinate and begin to grow. Once they have germinated and they're starting to grow really well, you'll want to go ahead and remove these structures. So there are a lot of choices. Be sure to choose varieties and vegetables that you want to eat. I chose some that I really like. But there's a number of them that you can choose from. Again, the cool season crops are a lot of the leafy crops like lettuces, cabbage, kale, spinach. The cole crops, you can even do a few others that you might even plant during summer, but you want to make sure you plant them as soon as you can and make sure you get early maturing varieties. We have a great fact sheet. It's HLA 6009 Fall Gardening, and it's a great resource for you. It gives you a list of plants that you can plant, when you can plant them, how to plant them, etc. Hope you enjoy having a great fall harvest.
We hope you enjoyed this video. It's part of our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. You can also find even more videos on our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.